welcome back to my channel Urban Tropical, and thank you so much for tuning in. Before I dive into the topic, I just wanted to say thank you for the people who have subscribed, and I am so grateful. That really gives me confidence. If you haven't done that, so please click like and click subscribe. That means a lot to me, and it's just so nice to know the people who are supporting me. So today we are going to talk about how do we water plants in winter. I actually don't sit back and ever think, how do I water my plants in winter? It just came to my attention that there are questions, how do you water your plants in winter? And then I thought it would be really good to make a video on it. So I am a member on house plant forums, and this question was asked a lot, and here is the video. So what happens really in winter? The reason we say, okay, we need to water less in winter because plants are going into dormancy, and that is the main reason. If they are not going through photosynthesis process, that means the water sitting in the soil will eventually lead to root rot and your plant will be just dead. That is really the key reason about precautions in winter. Now there are a lot of factors which we have to discuss, and they contribute. How do you water your plants in winter? There is not a one rule. Actually, I wouldn't say there is a one rule per plant. The rules are really based on your households, the growing conditions you are giving it to plant. I could be having my plant in a very different circumstances than 2 years. That means my watering requirements will be 2 years. So there is not a setting stone. I need to water every 3 weeks or 4 weeks or completely let it dry before you water. Everything plays a part in it. So if I have to make this extremely simple, all I do is follow the same regime as I do in summer. If my plant is really getting bone dry, some likes to be bone dry, so I have to let them to get to that side. Some likes to be moist. If they're still getting to that side, I will water. So for me, it's not about winter or summer, it's what my plants like. And now let's discuss the factors. The very first factor is the pot size. If you have a smaller pot size, so if I show you this one is a very small pot size and it will dry out really quickly. So I have to water it more frequently compared to a really big pot size. So if I just pick up my Dracena Janet, I think this one is, it's a really big giant pot size. That means it will not dry, that means it will not dry quickly. And I water this one approximately 5 to 6 weeks in winter, and I water this one approximately 3 to 4 weeks in summer, all because of the size of the pot. So the number one key thing is how big is your pot size. That determines that how often you should water your plants. Rule number 2 is the media you use to plant your plants. So if I go for this one, I have used extremely fast draining soil mixture because I'm having so much trouble with my alocasia and I just need this to survive. And if I have something so fast free draining, that means water will drain out quickly and my plant will dry quickly too. So that means my watering requirement will be more on when it's getting to dry rather than I need to water every 3 or 4 weeks. Now moving on to the second soil media. This one is just a coconut and it's like a sponge. So if I water this plant, it will be sucking so much water. I have to wait extremely long time. So if I recall, I have not watered this plant for a good 7 weeks now, just because it takes so long to dry. And the soil media has made a big difference to my watering regime. How often will I water, and the plant needs as well. So if a plant has to go to bone dry before you water, that means it's the same. Either I go to summer or I go to winter. I have to let it completely bone dry before I water. So my watering stays the same. Either it's summer or it's winter. So alocasia does not like to be bone dry. So that means, again, I have to water it before it goes to the bone dry situation because that's its needs. So we have discussed pot size, we have discussed soil media, and now we are going to discuss pot material. That's really important. So normally I have everything in plastic, so I don't have to worry about things. But if you have a different materials, it could be you have one in plastic and the other one is in terracotta, or you have in that felt material, you are going to have to watering more than other people. So let's discuss that. So this is a plastic, it's not breathable, it's not porous. That means when the moisture goes in, it keeps it in for longer, and I can take my time to water. I can delay my watering. But if I move on to, I'm not really into terracotta, so I'm struggling with this one, Alocasia Red Secret. So I have put it in this terracotta pot. This one is porous, breathable, equals I will lose moisture quickly. That means it will dry out quickly. That means I have to water it quickly. So where you plant can change all that. So again, now we are still talking about the same plant requirements. Alocasia versus Alocasia likes to be moist. I will water the other Alocasia maybe 3 weeks, and this one I have to water in 7 to 8 or 10 days because it dries quickly. And again, soil mixture makes big difference. It's really fast free draining. That means it will dry out extra soon. So we have now discussed the factors, and the last one we need to talk about is temperature and lighting. So if I'm keeping the temperatures inside my house warm, that means my plant is still not gone into dormancy. Even though it's winter, it's still active and it still needs water. So no dormancy equals I still need to look after my plant like it's growing. And if I add another component to that, which is a grow light. So if I just turn this on, so now my plant is getting light and my plant is getting the right temperature for it to grow. That means there is no winter for this plant. It's still growing, and if it's still growing, I still need to water my plant despite it being winter. My plant will dry out just because it's making food, it's growing, and I need to meet its needs. I wouldn't think, okay, it's winter, let's just not water. The only thing happens if your plant is still active and you don't give it the right growing conditions, your leaves starts to grow small and they start to lose a pattern as well, because it's not getting much light and it's not getting much requirements, but it's still growing. So all this is a new growth. We are in January now. So I really hope that this was helpful for you, and if it was, please click like and click subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.